Hail State, everybody. Welcome back to Dear Old State. Joel Coleman, Logan Lowry here with you as always. And today, joined by Mississippi State head men's golf coach Dusty Smith. Must mean the Mossy Oak Collegiate's coming up, Coach. It feels like it's your time to shine on Dear Old State when it gets this time of year. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's got to be home week. It's
Yeah.
got to be home week.
It's like an annual event here. But just looking at the results, even dating back to the fall, it seemed like the team has played a really good brand of golf this year. How would you kind of take how the team's played so far this year, as you kind of start to ramp up and wrap up the regular season?
Yeah, there's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs, as typical golf going through the season. But we've started to really turn the corner. I felt like last week, having all five guys really contribute and really a tournament where we had to perform pretty well, and the guys answered and played some solid golf. Just obviously, three seniors in the lineup, that helps a lot. Really relying on their veteran play, but then you got some freshmen in the back end of the lineup that have done some really good things this year.
You mentioned those seniors. Garrett has just been outstanding again this year. 3 top 10, 7 top 20s this season. Just what has he meant to this team this year, and just the leadership that he's shown?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one to answer. He's a team captain, as well as Dane Ritchie. They're our team captains, but just how mature he's become as a person and as a golfer. He's really taken a hold of this team. He leads by example. He's our best player. I mean, his worst finish this year is 26, and he's done a really good job of understanding himself better on the golf course, and I think that's really important in golf. Golf's such a mental sport, and the more you become aware of your emotions out there, and the more you can become aware of what's really going on, the better you can compete. And he's done a really good job of working through that this year.
Yeah, it always seems like there's always some guys, whether it's on Mississippi State's team or teams around the Southeastern Conference, seems like they've played there longer than what they actually. Garrett's one of those guys that just seemed like he's been here forever. But you referenced last weekend just how well y'all played at the Mason Rudolph Championship up at Vanderbilt. What led to that success? What made that weekend so successful, especially with all those freshmen getting a chance to kind of make their mark?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot led to that moment last week. Really, after the season last year, as a coach, I had to really take a look in the mirror and figure out, what do we need to do to play. I call them play big moments. At the SEC championship, when you're on the cut line for match play, like you got to be able to, play big on that final day. Or like regionals last year when we had. We're third place going in the final round, and we didn't necessarily show up that final round and miss it by one spot. Like, I really had to take a deep dive into, myself as a coach, what I had to get better at, and really, the direction of the team to be able to handle those big play moments. So this year has been literally just kind of rebuilding, not rebuilding in the sense of our team, but our mindset and how we can handle those moments better. And it's been a journey. Like it's something that we had to understand the process better. We had to understand ourselves better. We had to become way more aware of what's really going on. So there's been a lot of intention behind this year, and it's one of those changes where it takes time, and you just have to keep sticking through it and kind of go through the mud a little bit. So I felt like last week, it's starting to click, because we needed to have a play big moment, and the guys responded. But one of the I think one of the reasons was Dane Ritchie finishing in the top 5, and he's one of our captains, and he had a really good season last year and kind of struggled early on in the year and had to do some things technically to kind of get back into form. So man, that kid works his tail off, and he you could see it over the past 2-3 months. He's starting to get back into form, and just see it start to click at Merido in some really tough conditions, and then to see it really click at the Mason Rudolph was a big part of it. And then I can't say enough about our other senior, Hugo Malcor, who's had a really solid season. So we've leaned heavily on them, but then you have the freshman Jackson Skinner out there. He's shot a bogey-free 65 and a bogey-free 64 this semester, a guy who can take it deep, which you need in your lineup. So I felt like everything's leading to those play big moments.
You mentioned Jackson Skinner, one of several freshmen that's got a lot of run this year for you. You mentioned it really in another context with the word rebuilding earlier or whatever, but with these freshmen, I mean, it does feel like there is a foundation being laid here for the future as well this season. You mentioned Jackson Skinner, but Jackson Cook, Bryson Hughes. Just talk a little bit about these freshmen and just kind of what you foresee as the future for this program as they've kind of started to be that next wave, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we knew going into the year we had, you had 3 seniors. You had a veteran player in Drew Wilson, but we also knew we were going to have to rely heavily on the young guys, and that's never an easy position for them to be in, to be thrown in the fire right away, and to be expected to perform at a high level. As a coach, I know there's going to be frustrating moments with them. I know there's going to be a lot of learning and a lot of developing, and honestly, as a coach, that's really exciting for me. Sometimes you want to bang your head against the wall a little bit, but just to see them kind of take the next step and grow and really figure out what SEC golf is about, what championship golf's about, what's demanded on a day-to-day basis to be a high-level player. They've done a really good job with it, and they've truly developed a lot quicker than I thought. We still have a long ways to go, but to have those young guys in there who have gotten so much great experience this year, they've been thrown in the fire. To be able to rely on them the next few years is going to be big for our team.
Well, like I said, it's kind of an annual event. We have you on to talk about the Mossy Oak Collegiate, but this year's field, who's coming in? Who can we expect to be playing out in West Point this week or next week?
Yeah, we have 19 teams coming in.
Oh, wow. So you don't have to name all those.
It's a big field, but, you have Vanderbilt's coming in, Ole Miss, Alabama, Kansas State, Cincinnati, Southern Miss will be here. So it's actually a very good field this year. Lots of teams, lots of really good players.
Is it one of those deals when you get to play at home, especially, I mean, as we're getting close to SEC championships and in the postseason and all that, where it kind of is already I guess, postseason type feel? Because you feel like you want to do well at home, right? I mean, does it kind of get you ready for what's to come to do this when it happens?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. For us to be able to play a home event right before we go to the SEC championship, and knowing that the guys on the team, they want to play so well at home. They know what they want to do this week, and to be able to play with those expectations and that amount of pressure is going to be big for us as we head into postseason.
Yeah, getting ready for SECs and stuff. Where do you think the team's kind of at right now, and what does the outlook look like for NCAAs right now?
Yeah, I think, like I said, the outlook is a lot better than it was 2 weeks ago. The Mason Rudolph put us in a really good spot to make another postseason run. Like I said, we gotta keep playing big in our play big moments this week and into SECs, but we're in a good spot. As far as SEC goes, like we know our intention and what we're committed to. That foundation was laid day one. It was a team commitment. It was a team intention, and we know. We really don't care where we're seated, where we're ranked. We've been training for the moment the entire year, and I know they have what it takes to do it.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to peak at the right time. Seems like this team's, yeah.
For our folks that might want to come out to West Point and root you guys on a little bit next week, what's kind of the schedule? Do we know when we're teeing off, when folks can come out?
We do. So on Monday we have 36 holes of golf, so it's an all-day thing. So even if you have work and you can get off around 5 o'clock, you should run out to Mossy Oak because we'll still be playing. But we tee off at 8 a.m., continuous play, 36 holes. So basically sun up to sundown on Monday. And then on Tuesday, you have tee times running from 8 a.m. to 10:20 off holes 1 and 10. So it's free of charge, free admission. Bring your coolers, bring what you need, bring a cowbell if you want to, and wear the maroon and white.
That's awesome, man. I'm always glad to have you here on the show, Dusty. Like I said, it's a certainly a yearly event. I feel like to have you here as well to talk a little bit about what's coming up, and wish the best of luck for all you guys. And let's win that thing and go into the postseason on a high note.
That's right. Thanks for having me on.
That's Dusty Smith, folks. Thank y'all for joining us here on today's show. You can come out, like I said, to West Point starting on Monday, last Monday and Tuesday. So get on out there and support the Dogs. Like Dusty said, bring what you want to root them on. Thank y'all for joining us on today's show. That'll wrap us up for today. For myself, for Logan, for Dusty, all three of us. Hail State.
Hail State.
Hail State.